Welcome back to another day of Bookmas. My name is Isabel. If you're new here, hello. If you're not new here, hello. Today, what I really wanted to do, and I've been very excited for this all year, is ranking all of my reads from the year. And I'm sorry if there's background noise. That's literally Gus being a kitten in the background. That's it. I can't stop him. He's a kitten. So what I wanted to do was do a little ranking of all the books I read this year. It's not going to be too long. I read 40 books so far this year. There may be one or two more. They won't be making this list, obviously, because it's mid-December and I'm filming this now. But we'll just move on without those ones. So, as you can see, there's my screen. So, the tiers we have going on are 6-star read is the top tier. This is for, it's pretty self-explanatory, books that are more than a 5-star read to me, books that are everything to me. Very good book, would recommend. This is gonna be for like 5-star reads, 5 or 4-star reads, anywhere in there. Solid 3-star read, middle of the road, very middle of the road. That's really what a 3-star read section is gonna be. I simply do not remember this. I think this is gonna be a commonly used category because I do not be remembering things. I forget books so easily. So, and then last category is bad, just bad. And I don't mean to offend anyone with that one, but these are just books I would not recommend. These are just books that I genuinely think are not good. So, and this does not include any of my DNFs. This is all books that I finished this year. So, the DNFs is a whole other thing because I do DNF quite a bit of books. So, down here we have the list of books for all the books that I read this year. It like doesn't seem like a lot, but it also felt like a lot when I was reading it. And I don't think this is in any particular order because I did try and download them in order, but I don't think they imported in order. So, or maybe they did actually. The more I look at it, the more I think, no, they didn't, but like vaguely they did. I don't know, whatever. So, we have The Champions. This one it's a YA thriller. It, I think, is like a spin-off of something else that I've read by the same author. I actually don't know. So this is going in the, I simply do not remember this category because I do not remember it. My bad. I remember, like, I didn't dislike it. It was probably a solid 3-star read, but I do not remember it at all. An Unquiet Mind. This is a autobiography of a woman who has bipolar disorder and she's like dealing with that in like the 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s-ish. So like a very different time than right now, first of all. I'm gonna put this very good book, would recommend. I'm only gonna say I would recommend it if you're interested in bipolar disorder or you have bipolar disorder. It's a very interesting perspective on the topic. I wouldn't say if you have no connection to bipolar disorder, you should go out and read it. I don't think you're gonna get much from it that way, but that's just my take on that. Okay, The Return of Ellie Black. I simply do not remember this book. I do not remember a lot of the thrillers I read. They all blend together. If I wrote a thriller and I vividly remember it, it's done a great job. Like that is like a 5-star thriller if I vividly remember it like 6 months later because they all blend together for me. So, Once Upon a Broken Heart. This is, I think, the second book in that series by Stephanie Garber. I don't think these were necessarily very good books, but I would recommend them for the vibes. I'm gonna put both of them actually, Once Upon a Broken Heart and The Ballad of Never After, in very good book, would recommend, because the vibes are astonishing. The vibes are amazing. It's a very unique situation as well, like a very unique book. I have not read anything like it. And for that, I give it kudos because that's kind of hard to do these days nowadays. Summer Romance by Annabelle Monaghan. This book was a favorite. I know it was like a favorite of Destiny Sidwell. I feel like it was a favorite of a couple other people's. I don't know. I do remember it vaguely. But I didn't find it to be like a 6-star read like I Know Destiny Said Will did. It didn't hit the same for me that it did for a lot of other people. As far as like a summary romance with like depth and a very emotional summer romance, I would say like very good book, would recommend. Actually, I lied. That's a solid 3-star read for me. It was good. I don't know that I would recommend it over any other romance with depth and like emotional depth to it. Okay, The Shining by Stephen King. Honestly, I do remember this, which says a lot. I'm putting that in very good book, would recommend. It is kind of a cult classic, modern classic, something of the sort. And while it was really long for me, like it just kind of dragged for me, I did really enjoy it. And I thought it was unique and very interesting, and it did have me a little scared. So for that, it gets very good book, would recommend. Oh, Ricochet, an addicted novel. I think after Ricochet, I did DNF the next book in the Addicted series. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news here. I'm putting Ricochet in bad, just bad. Because, first of all, there was a underage romance, genuinely a criminal romance starting to happen, okay? On top of that, I was not able to get into the characters in the way I think a lot of people were who love this book and this book series. Just not for me. These Violent Delights and Our Violent Ends, I'm putting both of these in the 6-star read category. And let me tell you about these. These are young adult historical fiction, historical fantasy books. Enemies to lovers, rival gang in Shanghai situation. They are so unique, so well written. I love the characters. I love the stories. The story arc and the history aspect and the way the world is painted is wonderful. And I enjoyed reading these so much. This first one was a reread for me this year. I read it back in like 2020, I think, or 2021. So I reread the first one to read the second one. And when I reread the first one, I did go back in and give it a 5-star on Storygraph when it had been like a 4 before. But I was like, after the reread, I decided, no, that's a 5-star read for me. And truly, 6-star series for me. The X-Files, this was in fact a 6-star read. I feel like at the similar times, people were talking about Summer Romance by Annabelle Monaghan. People were talking about the X-Files. I think it's by Jessica Joyce. And where Summer Romance fell short for me, the X-Files did not. It's like a best friends to lovers, second chance, wedding brings them back together. So it's like a wedding setting. It had everything I love in a romance. It had depth, it had second chance, it had best friends to lovers. I love second chance romances. This book was the one this year that made me realize like, oh no, second chance romances are for me. And this book, it made me laugh, it made me cry. The only thing I remember thinking about this book was I wish that there was more depth to secondary characters. I felt like they were cardboard cutouts to hold up the plot of the romance a little bit. But that being said, I love the story. I still think about it. It was great. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Definitely a 6-star read. Face Off. I simply do not remember this, and I'm looking at it thinking, I think maybe this is a hockey romance where they are on the same team and she's the first woman in the NHL. I don't know. I don't remember. Moving on. The Conditions of Will. This book, absolute 6-star read. This book took me by surprise. I loved it. It was deeply emotional. This is a Jessa Hastings book, in case you didn't know that. But I love her writing. The writing was magical. The story was magical. The whole thing was everything I wanted in the moment. So that was absolutely a 6-star read. Love Jessa Hastings. Listen for the Lie. This one I do remember, shockingly. So that is gonna be a solid 3-star read. And truth be told, I don't remember it that much. I remember the plot and I remember it being like fine. This is a no, that was the wrong word. This is a thriller with a podcast element. I think this woman is basically publicly convicted of her friend's killing, and then this podcaster and her team up to like discover who really did it, because like she's innocent but no one really believes that, but then there's like a whole, yeah, whatever. Oh goodness. Okay, Sweet Heartbreak. This is bad, just bad. I started the second one after this, ending after the second one. Don't know what the second one is called. I started this as like a light, fluffy romance boarding school situation. It's not good. Just not good. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that. It was shaping up by the second book to be like deeply something I did not want to read. The first book, like the romance I was following, I was into it. Second book enters like a love triangle situation, I think. And at the start of that, I thought, oh no, this is not what I signed up for. I do not want a love triangle situation. So I don't truly have a distinct difference in my brain between all the Heartstopper books. I did read a bunch of them. I think that's all of them. I read the last 3 of them this year. So I read Heartstopper 2, 3, and 4. I think these are very good books. Would recommend them. First of all, graphic novels, fun. Maybe I need to get into that. Just good, quick reads, lovely representation of LGBT, of mental illness and mental health, all of it. Okay, Hell's Half Acre. I simply do not remember this, and the reason why is I slept through probably a good third of the audiobook on accident, and then I just didn't go back to figure out where I had fallen asleep at and re-listen. That is my bad. This is a nonfiction book about the Bender family. It's the untold story of the Benders, a serial killer family on the American frontier. So it's like a historical murder, true crime story. It was interesting. I felt like it had a lot of names in it and I couldn't keep up. They did not do anything to assist me in keeping track of who was who, and that was a little hard. I will say, I do remember the parts that I actually heard when I was awake, but the story, like, there's 2 halves of the story and I slept through like the middle part, right? So like I don't really have a deep understanding of what's going on there. Oh my gosh. Out of the Woods by Hannah Bonham Young. Absolute 6-star read. Once again, second chance. It's not like second chance, but it's like a second chance marriage recommitting situation. This just goes back to I love the second chance, and that's when The Ex-Spouse was when I discovered that, and the Out of the Woods was me continuing to search out books that had a second chance because I knew I would love them. And I did. This book had it all. Funny, depth, character development. It was eye-opening to me. I feel like I learned things from it and I internalized things from it, and I felt so similar in a lot of ways to the main character, and that got me. You know what I mean? So that for me was a 6-star read. I love that book. The Picture of Dorian Gray. I wish I could add a category in here that's like, this went straight over my head, because that did. I'm putting it in a solid 3-star read, I guess, because it's not bad, and I know that. It was good, arguably, but I know it all went over my head. That is the single classic, mind you, that I read this year. 2026. We're hoping to do better with classics. Magnolia Park's Into the Dark. Okay, so this is the last book in the Magnolia Park series. I'm putting this in very good book, would recommend. This was not a 6-star read like some of the other Magnolia Parks books were. However, it was still really good. I enjoyed seeing the ending to that part of the story. Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. I finally read this book. This is going in very good, would recommend. This is a fiction book about 2 friends who in college design a very popular video game, and it just kind of takes off from there. This was not at all what I expected, first of all. Second of all, it was wonderful. It had so much depth. It made me think. It made me think about video games in a way that I don't normally think about video games, which I think is a sign of a very good book. And that is how you know a book is doing its job. I think that's all I need to say about that, truly. The Silent Patient. This solid 3-star read. Had I read it when it was popular in 2020 or whatever, I would have loved it, and it would have been just like mind-boggling and mind-blowing for me. However, while the twist was interesting and cool, and like I was like, oh, that was a good one, it didn't blow my mind. just because I think I've read so many other thrillers. Rewind It Back. Oh my gosh. I am putting that in very good book, would recommend. This was my favorite book in the series. What is that series called? Windy City series. This also was a second chance romance, I think. In that, for me, once again, does it for me every time. So now we are taking a dive into some of the Christmas reads I read. This is, once again, this is where things get really out of order. The Christmas list. I wish there was another category here because honestly, solid 3-star read. If you're looking for a Christmas book, go ahead and read it. It's short. It was fun. I'm gonna put the same thing for The Bright Side of Christmas. Once again, solid 3-star read. It was short, it was fun. Oh, The Lost Tomb by Douglas Preston. This is a nonfiction compilation of stories by Douglas Preston, or essays, I guess, by Douglas Preston, all surrounding burials. This I found very interesting. I actually really liked it. It made me want to read more books in this style. I'm gonna put this in very good book, would recommend, because I listened to the audiobook. First of all, that was super fun. It was very thought-provoking. There's a number of times I texted CJ and was like, you know what's weird? This thing that I just started thinking about because of this book. I love a tomb story, a burial story, very interesting part of history to me. As we may know, one of my favorite historical mysteries is Alexander the Great's tomb. Okay, The Secret History by Donna Tartt. That's going in solid 3-star read. I feel like If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio, which I read first, was preferable for me. I'm not gonna say it was better, but I preferred it. And I felt like they were so similar that I wish I had read The Secret History first, because I know it was the original one. But to me, they're just the same. And that's fine. The Secret History, I know it was intentionally pretentious, but it dragged for me. And it got annoying for me. And I really had to push to like finish it, but I was reading it as like a book club thing, so I was gonna finish it. But still a little frustrating, to be honest. Bride by Allie Hazelwood. This is a weird one. I really liked it. I'm putting it in solid 3-star read. I enjoyed it. It was porn with a plot to the max. The plot was not there. The plot was weird in a way that I did not care. I was there for the romance. That was it. I wouldn't even recommend it because I know it's not for everyone. And I think it would not be something I would recommend to anyone, actually, unless they had said to me specifically, like, hey, I am thinking I might be into this book. And I would say, hey, I liked it. If you think you're gonna be into it, go ahead and read it. But I'm never gonna like cold open recommend this book because that's weird. Anyway, The Serpent and the Wings of Night. This book, honestly, okay, very good book, would recommend. I really enjoyed this as a fantasy. I'm very excited to continue the series because I can see the rest of the series being a 5-star like series for me. I just have not picked up the next books yet. That is on my list for 2026 though, for sure. And I'm very excited to see where the series goes and where it takes us. Very good book, would recommend that series. Okay, Conclave by Robert Harris. This is the book that the movie is based off of. Solid 3-star read. It was not at all what I was expecting. It was interesting. I listened to the audiobook, I believe. It was interesting, not what I was expecting in the slightest. I enjoyed my time. I probably did give it like a 3.5 or something on Storygraph. I don't know that I would recommend it to anyone. I don't know anyone who would come up to me and I'd say, oh, you know what? You would really like this book because I know about you that this would be interesting to you. I don't know anyone like that. So I don't think I would ever recommend it to anyone. If you were looking into reading it, I would say go ahead. If you think you're gonna like it, go ahead. Once again, not gonna cold turkey, cold open, bring that up to anyone. Okay, what is this book called? Because I can't even see the title. I read this as a part of reading LGBT books in June. This was also a book with bipolar representation in it. It's called Glitterland. Glitterland by Alexis Hall. Solid 3-star read. I do remember it. I didn't care for it in any particular way. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good. I mean, it was fine. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. It was fine. Okay, The Pairing by Casey McQuiston. Read this book for the same video I read Glitterland for. This, however, very good book, would recommend. This hit a nerve in me because of the circumstances and timings I read it at. But I went into this book. This is like a second chance queer romance. It involves a lot of European travel. So I read it during the summer prior to a Europe trip I took this summer. I read it prior to that. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it. However, it was not a 6-star read by any means, but I did really enjoy myself. It made me think. It made me feel all the things. Maybe you should talk to someone. This is the only self-help nonfiction book on this list. This is like about therapy and the usefulness of therapy, I guess. I don't know. I didn't get much from this in retrospect. I think I read it in like February when I was going through a harder time, and I was looking for books that were nonfiction to kind of like boost me up and make me think and stuff like that. It was fine for what it was. The Ravens, I hate to say it, but I'm putting this in bad, just bad. I listened to the audiobook of this. This is a young adult fantasy college witch situation. It was fine. It was just the building blocks of the story were put together very strangely. The ending came out of way left field. The pacing was weird. Like, it was super slow, and then all of a sudden everything happened at once in a way that I was like, there was not a single breadcrumb to lead me to what was gonna happen, which I didn't appreciate. So I wouldn't recommend it. I do remember it. I don't know. Oh, I forgot. Okay, so this is One True Love. This is also gonna go, very good book. I would recommend. That's the last book, I think, in the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. Once again, would recommend it. Last Scene. I simply do not remember this, and actually could not give you a synopsis or a vague synopsis. Do not remember. Like, simply do not remember. Oh my gosh, Everything is Tuberculosis. That is gonna be a 6-star read. That book was phenomenal. Probably my top book of the year. I think it was amazing. It's nonfiction it's about tuberculosis, but it's also about humanity and politics and history and sociology, and it's about everything. It's literally about everything, but also about tuberculosis. Hence the title, Everything is Tuberculosis. It relates everything in the world to tuberculosis in like a very succinct and fun and interesting way. It is not long-winded. Appreciated that. It's wonderful. Okay, and last, but definitely not least, The Women by Kristen Hanna. Okay, this was also, for me, well, actually, I'm putting this in very good book, would recommend. It was not a 6-star read, unfortunately. I think I did not connect to the main character deep enough for it to be a 6-star read. I wish it had been, but the history aspect of it, very interesting. The things that I felt like my eyes were open to and that my thoughts had turned to while reading this, very interesting, and I really value the perspective that it gave me. It was like truly inspiring to feel like, okay, she did such hard things. I can do hard things because no one's asking me to go to Vietnam. Very good book. Would recommend it cold turkey. Anyone's like, what should I read? The Women by Kristen Hanna. Here is our final ranking of books. Honestly, it's pretty like middle heavy, which is exactly what I was expecting. Though the top books, like there was a good amount of like really good books I read this year, so I'm happy about that. Obviously, we always wish there could have been more, but looking back, that's a good selection of very good books. That's like one every couple months. Way less books in the I simply do not remember this category than I thought there would be. I have a habit of forgetting everything. I have a terrible memory. So I'm shocked that actually most of the books that I read this year I do remember. The bar's on the floor. All that being said, thanks for coming to join me to do this ranking video. I had so much fun. I'm very excited to see everyone else's rankings. If you have done or posted a ranking video, let me know. I would love to watch it. I This is my favorite way to get 5-star read recommendations and like good book recommendations all in one go from people. That being said, like, comment, subscribe if you want to, and I will see you for, I believe, one more day of Bookmas after this. Thanks for coming along for my first ever Bookmas though. I do appreciate it. Thank you for sticking by me through this weird month. I worked very hard to pull this off, and it doesn't seem like a lot, I know, but I worked very hard to pull it off. And I'm very proud of myself for what I have done so far and what I know I will commit to doing by the time this video is up. So, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in a couple days for the last day of Bookmas. Bye!